Fox News contributor Mike Pompeo is a former Secretary of State who was also CIA director. And I was just checking something to check in on somebody that we had covered here those years ago to see how they're doing. You know, they're still not here in the United States, even though they had been promised initially that they would be. The backup at the State Department is quite extensive still. And in addition to the grief that these families are feeling, there's something called a moral injury to our veterans that we're trying to help get those who help them over here into safety. And that all of it has been backed up. They are not forgotten. But with this administration, it seems that very little is being done.
Well, Dana, it's great to be with you. I think that's absolutely true. I think this administration wants to put this behind them. President Biden never utters the word Afghanistan. He refuses to talk about it. He sends out people to say he's sorry for what happened. That is, when we see these Gold Star families, this is absolutely tragic. But he hasn't done the right thing. He hasn't acknowledged that they screwed this up, that the loss of the lives, the 13 Americans that were killed that day in Afghanistan, didn't have to be. It was a political decision. The Biden administration knew full well the likely outcome if they evacuated the way that they did. And while the effort to withdraw from Afghanistan was noble, something that we were very much committed to in the Trump administration, we also knew we were going to protect America, and we did it for 4 years. The Biden administration screwed this up. The results we can all see, and it just breaks my heart not only to see the grief of these Gold Star families, but also to see what this has done to our United States military. The fact that we withdrew in this way set us back around the world, and the Biden administration has a responsibility to own it, accept it, fix it, and get it back for us.
And a lot of the blame they shift to the Trump administration, of which you were a part of, especially at that time. I want to ask you about that, but I want to listen to Alicia Lopez from yesterday's hearing first.
Our system is quick to identify those at fault in faraway countries. But yet we are challenged to evaluate ourselves.
So telling, they're challenged to evaluate ourselves. I pulled the transcript of the president's address to the country from August 16th, 2021. He says, when I came into office, I inherited a deal that President Trump negotiated with the Taliban. The choice I made as your president was either follow through on that agreement or be prepared to go back to fighting the Taliban during the spring fighting season. What is your recollection of what the obligation was under the Doha agreement that you were a part of as well with President Trump?
Yeah, Bill, it's not a recollection. This blame shifting is ridiculous. I think the American people know it. I think these families know it, too. We had this right. We were trying to get our young men and women home. We got nearly all of them back. But we would never have set an artificial date, a date that we knew wouldn't work. And the agreement that they pawned this off on simply said, if you all do the things you said you do, then we'll finish our withdrawal. But if you don't, we're going to continue to pound you. And that's what we did. They didn't live up to their agreements. They were breaking those promises, and we continued to pound them. We would have never done what President Biden did. He set September 11th as the date, right? Very political, to withdraw all of our forces. And I promise you, his intelligence team was telling him, if you do that, the results that we saw on the ground 2 years ago will be precisely what happens. He knew this. He made the choice. He said, let's do it early in the administration so it's behind us before the next election. That is tragic to do this on the backs of these amazing Americans who served in Afghanistan for 20 years and saved countless American lives. I'm so proud of the work that we did there, and I am so just embarrassed by the way President Biden has refused to acknowledge his failure to continue to live up to his duty.
And he doesn't have to ever answer any questions about it because he doesn't make himself available for that. Although today I understand he's going to do an interview with the Weather Channel, see if they ask about this. I doubt it. Former Secretary.
I hope someone asks him about these Gold Star families today. It would be appropriate for him to respond to them.
So do we.
They deserve it.
Yep. Thank you, sir, for your time.
Good to see you.
Thank you, Bill. Thank you, Dana.